everything might not be fun.
The politicians keep saying, why is our healthcare system so expensive? And like, duh.
How does that make any sense?
We'll figure it out. This is the thing, I'm just getting totally unhinged now, and I don't know what to do. So hey, it's still kind of loud, but we'll make do. So I wanted to talk about something that's really irritating me and drives me crazy, and this is something that the medical community is not willing to talk about. Not only that, I belong to several groups that talk about healthcare reform, and they're not willing to talk about this either. It is that great albatross that has to sit somewhere else and you're not allowed to say. And this is it, and I'll be very blunt. Doctors are the cause of this problem. My field. Doctors are not well trained. Doctors are not thinking people. In general, I don't want to be bigoted against all doctors, but in general, doctors don't think. They just do. And if you want to look at our problem, our entire problem, it's the doctor's fault. And we're training doctors totally wrong. You know, I'm watching my daughter take an organic chemistry class. She wants to be a doctor. She's a wonderful person. She's a thoughtful person. Her brain is good. My son too is going to medical school next year. Really thoughtful, critical thinking, excellent. Can figure stuff out. But unless these people, my daughter and son and so many others, can take organic chemistry, a class that I took and immediately forgot. I sucked it out of my brain because it was so damaging to every neuron in my brain. Such an awful class. Unless they could pass that class and do well in it, unless they could take physics and chemistry, math, and do well in it, they can't be doctors. I mean, our whole process of selecting doctors tries to pick people who would be the worst doctors possible. People who are thinking people, compassionate people are rejected. I've seen it over and over again. People who could memorize and regurgitate and play the game and suck up to people, that's your doctors. That's what we want. And when they get into medical school, it gets worse. Indoctrination. This is the way you have to do things. There's only one right way. Don't question anything. If you question it, we're going to give you a bad grade. You listen to us. That's medical school. I fear for my kids going through medical school. It is so damaging. And what the medical school spit out are these doctors who don't think. There's no head left on their shoulders. The last couple of weeks, I've just been watching this at play. I have a 95-year-old right now about to get heart surgery because she has shaking episodes. And the doctors have convinced the daughter that that's because her heart valve is bad. And they, not only that, they did a bunch of tests on her. They said, well, we don't think you have this problem, but we're going to do all these tests on you anyway, just to make sure. Like, thinking is not part of it. I watched a kidney doctor recently who, instead of actually thinking about what this patient's problem is, just decided to stick a needle in his kidney. Even though every piece of common sense that even non-doctors, family members of this person could figure out, showed that they knew what the problem was and it was going to get better with time. Still, this doctor said, well, you're probably right, but let's stick a needle in the kidney. I got another one ready to stick a needle in someone's liver for another thing that's just going to go away on its own, most likely. These are doctors well trained in these fields, and yet they do a bunch of tests and stick needles in without using common sense or thinking, causing escalation of cost and damage to patients. They also allow patients and their families to believe that by doing all this stuff, they're being thorough. The families are all excited about this 95-year-old who's finally going to get a new heart valve. Are you freaking kidding me? Really? I mean, is this where we are? Are these the doctors we're actually training that are going to do this? Instead of talking to the family and saying, look, let's keep her comfortable, let's do other things. This is absolutely ridiculous that we're going down this road. They don't do that. They just do stuff. They don't realize that studies done on 50-year-olds don't apply to 90-year-olds. Like we talked about last week, if we don't have definite data to show that a 90-year-old is going to benefit from a certain thing, we shouldn't do that thing. And that's what a thinking doctor would say. A doctor without a brain, whose brain's been sucked out by their training is going to just do it and be the hero. And if that patient dies, the family's going to say, well, doctor, at least you were thorough. At least you gave it a good shot. I mean, really, this is what's going on. This week I've had one thing after another from doctors who are causing the problem. And it's not just this week. My whole book is filled with this stuff. We have to change how doctors are trained. We have to get better people to go to medical school, not people who do well on organic chemistry. What the heck even is organic chemistry? I have no idea what it is. If someone were to ask me, my daughter did, well, what's organic chemistry like, Dad? I said, you know what? I really don't even know. I don't remember, but I know you got to do well on it to be a good doctor. It has nothing to do with whether you're going to be a good doctor, but that's the ticket you got to punch to get into medical school. So the good people can't get in. And the people who can do that kind of stuff, they run right through the doors. And that's what we're dealing with. So I got all these patients being told things. I have family members who are doctors who are forcing me to do things on their parents that are just absurd. I try to be reasonable, but they won't hear any of it. They're pushing these older people into things that make no sense and to which the patients don't want. And they've consistently not wanted. Doctors, not the biggest thinkers in the world. And here's the issue. The society thinks we're the greatest, wonderful people in the world. We wear our white coats and we've convinced you of that. But we got to change the system. I had a patient once who tell me, doctor, you keep telling me I shouldn't do this, but I'm not going to question my doctor. Well, you better start questioning your doctor. You better ask some good questions that make sense to you. If your doctor's doing something that doesn't make sense, or common sense seems to have flown away into some space, you should ask the doctor, well, really, doctor, what's going to happen if I don't take this statin cholesterol medicine? What's going to happen if I don't have this needle put in my kidney? What's going to happen if I don't get this heart valve replaced? What else could we do short of that? Because I don't want to end up in the hospital for 3 weeks in my mid-90s. And I don't know where that's going to bring me. I want to stay at home, and I want to see what we could do short of this aggressive treatment. That's not thorough treatment. That is stupid treatment. It's asinine treatment. It's treatment that dumb people would do to someone. So yeah, I'm pissed about this because I'm watching all my patients get hurt. I'm watching all these doctors get rich from doing this stuff. I'm watching our healthcare system plummet and tank. And you know what the result is? Everyone says, wow, such thorough doctors. No, these aren't thorough doctors. These are an embarrassment to the field. And unless we could admit to that, change how doctors are trained, pay people for being thinking and not for being stupid, then we're going to have a real mess on our hands going forward, and our healthcare system is going to be no more. So, beautiful spot in Patapsco. I'm going to run really fast today because I am annoyed as all get up. Okay, bye. Hey, hope you like the podcast. We'll be back next week. I'm going to give you some information. If you want to check the website, if you want to email me, if you got your own stories, let's talk about it. See you next week.